So hello guys, this is D-Man BFP4F Fire once again, back at you with another gameplay commentary. Now in this video we will be taking a look at the F2000 assault rifle for your assault class. Now quickly, a lot of people like to know what attachments I'm running on the weapon. I am running the Nemesis stock, M145 scope, Viper Max and Predator barrel. Why I'm running these attachments, I'll get to that later on in this video. Now, the F2000 is a really underrated assault rifle in Battlefield 3, but it's quite overpriced as well. Not overpriced, but overranked, I mean. The F2000 is a really good assault rifle, but it is really similar to the Scar L assault rifle. But the F2000 is a bullpup weapon. I generally really like bullpup weapons, but the F2000 has some really negative things about it and some quite good things. I would not call them really that good things because a lot of other assault rifles also have those good things, but I'll still get to them. Now the F2000, it has a pretty odd number of ammo. It has 22 bullets per magazine. With 3 magazines total. Now 22 bullets per magazine, that's quite odd to see in a weapon, because I think generally the standard amount is 30, and for some in Battlefield 3 it's 20 or 24, but I've never really seen a 22 ammo weapon, so that's quite unique, I should call it. 22 bullets is not that much, but to be honest, it's 2 bullets more than something like the AK, and you can always buff it up with something like Viper Max or Casket Max. A really negative thing about the F2000 though is its reload time. It has a really slow reload of 4.83 seconds. It's almost 5 seconds, but that's actually to be expected because it is a bullpup weapon, so of course it's gonna have a long reload. Just like the L85 and the AUG, it has a long reload because those weapons are bullpup weapons as well. Now the weapon, it has really high recoil if you don't use the proper attachments, because if you use the weapon without any attachments, the recoil can be quite annoying because like it can be controlled. I tried it for a challenge. My friend recommended to me that I should use the F2000. And I was like, yeah, I want to use it, but I don't have the funds to get. So I just rented it for a day, and without attachment, it did have a lot of recoil, but I still went fairly positive with it. But just to be honest, if you want the weapon to have quite low recoil, use something like a Nemesis stock or a tactical stock. But if you don't like weapons that have high recoil, then you might not want to consider this weapon. Still just pointing it out. The deviation of the weapon is also quite high. Like, it is high, but it can be controlled. That's quite ironic because I say deviation can be controlled. That's on certain weapons, but with this weapon the recoil is so high that you just have to burst the weapon a lot of times. And because we have to burst it, the recoil, no, the deviation will set itself to 0, so you can fire back again. But keep in mind, when you want to fully out of the weapon, the bullets will go all over the place because it does has high recoil. Now the velocity of the F2000 is 500, which is quite under average. Like average, I would say, is about 550 or 700. Between that and 500 is a bit low. So I would really recommend to use something like a precision barrel or predator barrel to just buff up that projectile velocity and the range just a bit of the weapon, or just use a precision barrel to buff up the projectile velocity to, I forgot what number, but I think it's around 800. So your bullets will hit quite a bit faster. Now the damage of the F2000 is quite nice, and that's one of the nice things about the F2000. It has 29 to 27 damage at close range, 24 to 22 damage at medium range, and 22 to 18 damage at long range. This is quite high, but of course if you want, you can buff it up with something like Viper Max, Stingray Max, Piranha Max, even CQC ammo if you want. What I would recommend to run on the weapon I would recommend that you use something like Viper Max to buff up the damage, because Viper Max are generally the best ammo attachment to go with, because the Viper Max increase your damage and your ammo with no drawbacks. But of course, what I use sometimes are the Casket Max. It's a cheap and really good option for the F2000. Which you could also go with the Stingray Match, but they are not in store anymore, so that's quite of a bummer. Scopes. Now, the weapon, it has high recoil, so I'm using the M145 scope on the F2000 in this gameplay. How I got it is from, I got it from one day in the daily draw. I got it from the daily draw for one day, excuse me there. But just like on the M16, if you may or may not have seen this video, I got it for one day, so I just made a video with it. And the M145 scope does work nice with the weapon if you're using something like an Nemesis stock, so you can get the precision long range shots in as well. But what I really would recommend is that you use something like the iron sights, holographic, or the red dot sights. Actually, the iron sights are one of the best iron sights in the game. They look really nice. They have like nice green iridescent lights on them, which makes it quite easy to identify enemies when you're aiming at something like a dark alleyway or something. And also, the F2000, it has some of the worst hip fire of any gun in the game. I mean, the recoil gets insanely high, and the DVing gets also insanely high as well. So I would just extremely advise you not to hip fire this weapon at any cost. I mean, just like you saw in that kill right there that I got just a while ago, I did hip fire, but that was just because I had to. You can hip fire then, but I just strongly recommend not to hip fire a lot of times. But hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay commentary, and I'm out.